F-Rome CCRAPs to CRs. The hull of the Phoenix groaned as Captain Maya Chen made her way through the cramped corridor. Exposed wires hung from the ceiling like technological vines, and the distinct smell of burned circuitry mixed with the metallic tang of rust. This was humanity's proud flagship, or so the Loraxians had called it when they'd sold it to Earth's government for a price that had nearly bankrupted the planet's unified economy. Status report, Commander Ortiz, Maya called out as she stepped onto the bridge, her boots clanking against the loose floor panels. Her second-in-command looked up from a console where half the screens were dark or flickering. Life support is functioning at 68% capacity. Weapons systems are, well, I wouldn't exactly call them systems anymore. Navigation is operational, but the inertial dampeners are spotty at best. Maya nodded, keeping her expression neutral despite the frustration boiling inside her. And the Loraxian delegation. Their shuttle just departed. Ambassador Kivex sends his regards. The way Ortiz spat out the last word conveyed exactly what kind of regards the alien diplomat had offered. Through the viewport, Maya watched the sleek Loraxian vessel glide away, its polished hull gleaming against the darkness of space. The contrast between their ship and the rusted Phoenix couldn't have been more stark. Cutting-edge technology versus what amounted to an interstellar junkyard piece. They're laughing at us, Ortiz said, echoing Maya's thoughts. Let them laugh, she replied quietly. It's always a mistake to underestimate humans. It had been just 2 years since humanity had developed its first viable faster-than-light drive. The discovery had catapulted Earth onto the galactic stage, where they quickly learned they were far from alone. The Galactic Concordat, an alliance of 7 spacefaring species, had welcomed Earth with seemingly open arms, but the welcome came with conditions. Chief among those conditions was that Earth would need to field its own defensive fleet to protect its borders and contribute to Concordat security operations. Without established shipyards capable of building advanced warships, humanity had little choice but to purchase vessels from their new allies. The Loraxians, one of the oldest and most technologically advanced species in the Concordat, had been quick to offer their assistance. They would sell Earth a dozen of their decommissioned warships, vessels they claimed were still perfectly serviceable despite their age. What they had delivered were 12 ships barely holding together, with outdated systems and structural integrity issues that made them dangerous to even operate. Yet Earth had paid a premium price, depleting their resources and placing them in a position of subservience to the Loraxians, who had immediately begun establishing mining operations on Earth and throughout the solar system, paying humans a fraction of what the extracted materials were worth on the galactic market. Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission from Admiral Katri, the communications officer announced. On screen, Maya ordered, straightening her uniform jacket. The weathered face of Admiral Prisha Katri appeared on the main view screen. Her dark eyes revealed nothing, but the slight tightening of her jaw told Maya all she needed to know about the Admiral's mood. Captain Chen, I need you and your senior staff to return to Earth immediately. Bring all technical data from the Phoenix and the other ships. Level 1 security protocols. Yes, Admiral. May I ask what this is about? A hint of a smile crossed Katri's face. Let's just say it's time we stopped playing by their rules. Return to Luna Base. Katri out. 1 week later, Maya stood in a vast underground facility beneath the Himalayan mountains. Around her were gathered Earth's finest minds. Engineers, physicists, computer scientists, and military strategists. The atmosphere hummed with nervous energy and anticipation. Admiral Katri walked to the center of the room, and the murmuring voices fell silent. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, the Loraxians believe they've played a clever trick on us. They've sold us obsolete technology at premium prices, established exploitative mining operations on our world, and are now treating Earth as little more than a resource-rich colony. Katri's voice hardened. But what they don't know, what we've kept carefully hidden from all Concordat species, is that human innovation follows a different path than theirs. She tapped a command on her wrist terminal, and a hologram appeared above the central table. It showed a small, unassuming black device no larger than a coffee mug. "This," Chatri said, "is the quantum phase modulator, our answer to the Loraxians' deception." Dr. Elena Sokolov, Earth's leading quantum physicist, stepped forward. The Concordat species focused their technological development on energy manipulation and standard dimensional physics. Humanity took a different approach. While working on our FTL drive, we discovered that matter can exist in a state of quantum indeterminacy, partially phased between dimensions. She gestured at the hologram. This device allows a ship to shift partially out of normal spacetime. When activated, sensors cannot detect the vessel, and conventional weapons pass harmlessly through it. Meanwhile, our specially modified weapons can still affect targets in normal space. Maya leaned forward, her mind racing with tactical possibilities. "You're saying we can make our ships ghost-like?" "Precisely, Captain." Dr. Sokolov nodded. "The Loraxians and other Concordat species never developed this technology because their evolutionary path took them in a different direction. They've mastered energy fields and plasma weaponry, but quantum phasing is completely unknown to them. But these ships they sold us." Maya gestured around, indicating the fleet. "They're barely holding together as it is. Can they handle this kind of modification?" A tall man with deep brown skin stood up from his seat. His name badge identified him as Dr. Quaim Osi, Chief Engineer of the Earth Defense Force. "That's where I come in, Captain," he said. "We've conducted thorough structural analyses of all 12 ships. Despite their appearance, the basic framework is surprisingly robust. The Loraxians built these vessels to last. They just stripped them of advanced systems before selling them to us." He activated his own holodisplay, showing schematics of the Phoenix. "We're going to completely rebuild these ships from the inside out, installing our own technology while maintaining their dilapidated exterior appearance." Maya couldn't help but smile as understanding dawned. Psychological warfare. They'll continue to see us as operating inferior technology. While in reality, Admiral Katri finished, we'll have created something they've never encountered before. The element of surprise is the greatest advantage in any conflict. The room buzzed with excitement. Scientists began discussing modifications, engineers debated power requirements, and military officers contemplated tactics. Admiral Katri approached Maya directly. "Captain Chen, your Phoenix will be the first to undergo the transformation. I'm assigning you to oversee the entire process. This project, codenamed Lazarus, is our highest priority." "Yes, Admiral." Maya nodded firmly. As the meeting dispersed, Maya found herself staring at the hologram of the quantum phase modulator, such a small device to place so much hope in. She thought of the condescending expressions on the Loraxian delegates' faces as they'd handed over control of the decrepit warships. "Let them laugh," she whispered. "For now." 3 months later, the Phoenix floated in a hidden shipyard nestled within the asteroid belt. From the outside, it still appeared as the same rusted hulk. In fact, the engineering team had carefully preserved every dent, scorch mark, and patch of corrosion. Inside was a different story entirely. Maya floated through the engine room, marveling at the transformation. Where outdated Loraxian power plants had once struggled to maintain basic operations, now hummed Earth's latest quantum fusion reactors. The weapons bays now housed phase-shifted particle cannons designed to function even when the ship was in its ghost-like state. Chief Engineer Takumi Nakamura floated up beside her, making final adjustments to the quantum phase modulator, now integrated into the ship's core systems. "It still doesn't make sense," Takumi said, shaking his head in wonder. "The Loraxians have been in space for over 3,000 years. How did they miss something this fundamental?" Maya considered this. Different evolutionary paths lead to different technological developments. They focused on mastering known physics. We humans have always been obsessed with breaking rules we don't fully understand. Takumi smiled. Lucky for us. Captain, to the bridge, came Commander Ortiz's voice over the comm. Admiral Katri is requesting a status update. When Maya arrived on the bridge, she barely recognized it. Gone were the malfunctioning screens and exposed wiring. In their place stood sleek, Earth-designed control systems with holographic interfaces. Only the captain's chair remained from the original design, though it had been completely rebuilt inside while maintaining its worn exterior appearance. Admiral Katri's face appeared on the main screen. Captain Chen, how goes our resurrection project? The Phoenix is nearly ready, Admiral. All internal systems have been replaced with Earth technology. The quantum phase modulator has been successfully integrated and tested in isolation. We're ready for a full ship test within the week. Excellent. You may need to accelerate that timeline. Katri's expression darkened. The Loraxians have increased their mining operations in the asteroid belt without authorization. When we protested, they responded by sending 3 of their latest battle cruisers into Earth orbit as a friendly reminder of our protection agreement. Maya felt her jaw tighten. They can't do that. We've met all the requirements of Concordat membership. They can, and they are. Katri replied grimly. The Loraxians have significant influence within the Concordat Council. More importantly, they believe we have no choice but to comply. After all, what could we possibly do with our pathetic fleet of rusted warships? A slow smile spread across the Admiral's face. Captain Chen, prepare the Phoenix for immediate deployment. It's time to teach the Loraxians, and the rest of the Concordat, a lesson about underestimating humanity. Yes, Admiral, Maya replied, a fierce determination taking hold in her chest. The Phoenix will rise from the ashes. The silent revolution. The Loraxian ultimatum arrived with the diplomatic equivalent of a sneer. Ambassador Kivex's hologram stood in the center of the United Earth Government chamber, his tall, slender form and silver-scaled skin gleaming under the lights. The terms are not negotiable, he declared, mandarin-colored eyes scanning the room with barely concealed disdain. Earth will increase mining quotas by 300%, reduce export tariffs on all rare earth minerals to 0, and cede territorial control of Luna to Loraxian oversight for the next 50 standard years. President Amara Okafor remained outwardly calm, though the tension in the room was palpable. And if we decline these generous terms? Kivex's mouth pulled into what might have been a smile on a human face. On his alien features, it resembled a predator baring its teeth. Then, regrettably, the Loraxian hegemony would be forced to reconsider Earth's provisional status within the Concordat. Our 3 battlecruisers currently in orbit would ensure an orderly transition of power until a more. He paused. Cooperative leadership could be established. After the transmission ended, President Okafor turned to Admiral Katri. Is the Phoenix ready? It is, Madam President. And the crew understands what we're asking of them. The risks. Admiral Katri's expression was solemn. Captain Chen and her crew volunteered, knowing full well this mission could end in their deaths. But they also understand what's at stake. President Okafor nodded slowly. Then we have no choice. Deploy the Phoenix. In the cold blackness of space, Captain Maya Chen sat in her command chair, surveying her bridge and crew. From the outside, the Phoenix still looked like a barely functional relic, patches of rust covering its hull, mismatched plating suggesting hasty repairs, and external lighting that flickered unpredictably. Inside, it was a different story. The bridge hummed with advanced technology. Holographic displays showed detailed scans of the 3 Loraxian battlecruisers in Earth orbit, sleek, predatory vessels bristling with weapons that could reduce cities to slag. Status report, Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of their mission. All systems operational, Captain. Commander Ortiz replied. Weapons hot but conventional shields at minimum power, making us look as pathetic as they expect. Quantum phase modulator. Chief Engineer Takumi's voice came through the comm. Primed and ready, Captain. On your command. Maya took a deep breath. Communications, hail the Loraxian flagship. Let's get their attention. Moments later, the aristocratic face of Commander Zextal appeared on the main view screen. His expression shifted from annoyance to amusement when he recognized the Phoenix. "Captain Chen," he said, mandarin eyes gleaming. "I see Earth has sent its finest vessel to greet us." How quaint. Maya kept her expression neutral. "Commander Zextal, I've been authorized by the United Earth government to inform you that we reject your terms. Earth is a sovereign world and a full member of the Galactic Concordat. We will not be bullied or intimidated." Zextal's amusement deepened. Brave words from someone commanding a ship that would struggle against our atmospheric shuttles, let alone our battlecruisers. His voice hardened. "You have 1 hour to reconsider before we begin orbital bombardment of your major cities." The transmission cut off, and Maya turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Kano, what's their current formation?" "Standard Loraxian triangle, Captain. Their flagship at point, the other two creating the base. All weapons trained on Earth's surface, not on us." A hint of a smile crossed his face. "They don't consider us a threat." "Perfect." Maya leaned forward. "Helm, bring us to attack position Alpha. Weapons, prepare phase-shifted particle cannons, but keep them powered down. Takumi, stand by with the QPM." The Phoenix moved slowly, its engines appearing to strain as it positioned itself directly in the path between the Loraxian flagship and Earth. "They're hailing us again," the communications officer reported. "Ignore it," Maya ordered. "Let them think our communications are malfunctioning." On the tactical display, Maya watched as the Loraxian vessels adjusted their formation slightly. A warning shot, bright red plasma, streaked past the Phoenix's bow. "They're trying to scare us off," Ortiz observed. "Now they're targeting us directly," Lieutenant Kano reported. "Energy readings indicate they're powering up their main cannons." Maya nodded, her expression resolute. "All hands, prepare for phase shift. Takumi, activate the quantum phase modulator." Deep within the Phoenix, the small black device came to life. A subtle vibration passed through the ship as reality itself seemed to blur around them. On the external cameras, the vessel appeared to shimmer slightly, like heat rising from pavement on a hot day. "QPM active and stable," Takumi reported, his voice tense with concentration. "We're now existing in a partial quantum state. Loraxian vessels firing," Lieutenant Kano announced. Maya watched calmly as massive energy beams from all 3 Loraxian ships converged on the Phoenix and passed directly through it, continuing harmlessly into empty space. On the tactical display, she could see the confusion spreading through the Loraxian fleet. Their sensors would show the Phoenix still in position, but their weapons had no effect. "They're scanning us with everything they've got," Ortiz reported. Confusion in their communications chatter. "Let's add to their confusion," Maya said. "Weapons, target the flagship's propulsion systems. Fire when ready." The Phoenix's phase-shifted particle cannons came to life, sending streams of quantum-entangled energy toward the Loraxian flagship. Unlike conventional weapons, these beams existed simultaneously in normal space and the shifted quantum state, allowing them to affect targets while the Phoenix remained invulnerable. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Loraxian flagship's engines erupted in a cascade of explosions as the unknown energy tore through their shields as if they weren't there. "Direct hit," Lieutenant Kano confirmed. "Their main propulsion is offline. They're switching to emergency power." "The other vessels are moving to defensive positions," Ortiz added. "They're firing again." Once more, the Loraxian weapons passed harmlessly through the Phoenix. "Target the weapon systems on the second vessel," Maya ordered. "Let's show them this wasn't a fluke." The phase-shifted cannons fired again, crippling the weapons array of the second Loraxian battlecruiser. Panic was now evident in the movement of the alien vessels as they tried to understand what was happening. "Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Loraxian flagship," the communications officer reported. "Commander Zextal is requesting to speak with you." On screen, Maya ordered. Zextal's face appeared, his earlier arrogance replaced by shock and anger. What is this trickery? What have you done? Maya allowed herself a small smile. No trickery, Commander. Just human innovation. Your weapons cannot harm us, but as you've seen, ours work perfectly well against you. This is impossible, he sputtered. No known technology. That's just it, Maya interrupted. No technology known to the Concordat. Humanity took a different path. While you perfected energy manipulation, we explored quantum states and dimensional phasing. She leaned forward in her chair. Now let me be clear. We have 11 more ships just like the Phoenix, all equipped with this technology. Currently, they're positioned throughout your territory, undetectable by your sensors and immune to your weapons. This was a bluff. The other 11 ships were still being upgraded, but Zextal had no way of knowing that. Here are our terms, Maya continued. The Loraxian hegemony will immediately withdraw all military vessels from Earth's space. You will renegotiate fair prices for all minerals extracted from our system, and you will acknowledge Earth as a full and equal member of the Galactic Concordat, with all the rights and privileges that entails. She paused, letting her words sink in. You have 1 hour to agree, or we will be forced to demonstrate our technology further, starting with your fleet's complete disarmament. The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in silence. Do you think they'll agree? Ortiz asked quietly. They don't have a choice, Maya replied. We've just changed the balance of power in the Concordat. 43 minutes later, the Loraxian fleet began powering down their weapon systems. A formal acceptance of Earth's terms followed shortly after. 2 weeks later, Maya stood in the grand chamber of the Galactic Concordat on the neutral world of Arcturus Prime. Delegates from all 7 member species were present, their attention fixed on the human delegation. Kavex, the Loraxian ambassador, had been recalled. In his place stood a more senior diplomat who treated the humans with careful respect. The Concordat High Counselor, a meridian with crystalline features, addressed the assembly. Recent events have necessitated a revaluation of Earth's position within our alliance. The technology demonstrated by Captain Chen's vessel represents a significant advancement unknown to our collective sciences. The Loraxian diplomat rose. The hegemony acknowledges that we misjudged humanity's capabilities. We have agreed to new terms regarding resource extraction and recognize Earth's sovereign status. We look forward to a more equitable partnership moving forward. Maya caught the subtle emphasis on equitable, a significant concession from a species that had viewed humans as little more than clever primates. After the session, Admiral Katri approached Maya in a private chamber. You've done well, Captain. The Phoenix has changed everything. The other Concordat species are already approaching us with offers of genuine technological exchange. And the rest of our fleet? Maya asked. Accelerated upgrades. Chakri replied with a smile. Within 6 months, all 12 ships will be operational with quantum phase modulators. Earth Space Command is already designing new vessels built specifically around the technology. Maya nodded, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. And the Loraxians, humbled for now. Their position within the Concordat has weakened considerably. Several species who chafed under their influence are asserting more independence. Admiral Katri gazed out at the stars visible through the chamber's window. We've earned our place here, Maya. Not just membership in their club, but respect. They underestimated us, Maya said softly. They saw our adaptability as primitive, our resourcefulness as desperation. A common mistake when dealing with humanity, Chatri agreed. We've always been at our best when backed into a corner. Maya thought about the Phoenix, a ship that had risen from discarded scraps to become a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. The Loraxians had sold them rusted warships as a joke, never imagining that those same vessels would one day make them kneel. What happens now? She asked. Admiral Caffrey's expression was thoughtful. Now we build. We learn. We explore. And we remember the lesson of the Phoenix. Sometimes, the greatest strength lies in being underestimated. Together, they looked out at the galaxy spread before them, a vast expanse of stars and worlds where humanity would now take its rightful place, not as newcomers to be exploited, but as equals to be respected. The Phoenix had risen, and with it, humanity's future among the stars.